Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty good lineup for you guys. I think we have 3 first appearances, 6 honorable mentions, so 9 titles in all to go through. Definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week, beginning November 3rd, 2023. First up from DC Comics, Return of Superman 30th Anniversary Special Number 1. This issue revisits the death of Superman from 4 different perspectives. Now we put this one on the list because there's a cameo or a mention of a new villain in this particular issue. You know, the cameos don't really get as much attention as the first full appearances of new characters, and if this is just a mere mention of the new villain, this one here is not going to be all that important. This one here definitely requires a little bit more research before you choose to pick it up, because if it is just a cameo or a mention of this new villain, you know, you'll have to decide whether or not this one here is worth adding to your collection. We always recommend picking up the first full appearances, but once again, this is a DC comic, and it really depends on what DC does with this new villain that they're introducing as to how important or popular it's going to be in the future anyway. So in our opinion, this one here is one you probably have a little bit more time on. Like I said, do a little bit more research on this, find out if this is a cameo or just a mere mention of this new villain, and find out who this villain is before you choose to pick this one up. Grab it for a spec if you can, otherwise put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Spider-Boy number 1. This is the first solo series featuring Spider-Boy. This issue features the first appearance of Gutterball, a bowling-themed villain, and the first appearance of Helafino. Now, Spider-Boy, this franchise, is incredibly popular. There's a lot of speculation on this character when it's first introduced, but anything Spider-Man related. You know, Spider-Man is probably the most heavily collected and most popular franchise for Marvel Comics, so anytime there's any kind of Spider-Man related new character, these are books you definitely want to have in your collection. And this one here is the first solo series featuring Spider-Boy, so this is the premiere issue of this series, and there are 2 first appearances in this one. So this is one we definitely think you should pick up and add to your collection, so go ahead and grab this one. And finally from Dark Horse Comics, Star Wars Hyperspace Stories number 10. This features the first team appearance of Bad Batch in story. Now Bad Batch has already been introduced to fans on the screen, but this here is the first team appearance of Bad Batch in comics or in story. This one here is probably worth picking up just because, you know, these Star Wars titles, Disney Marvel is still churning out a ton of media for the Star Wars franchise, and you really don't know how popular or important these characters or these teams are going to be in the future. So for $3 or $4, probably worth picking up the spec on. So grab this one here for your collection if you can. If you can't, then put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. And now for the honorable mentions. From Scout Comics, A Haunting on Mars number 1. A special team is sent to a dead colony on the wasteland of Mars to uncover secrets that causes their sanity to unravel. Now, like we always say with these small press and indie publishers, if these stories get optioned for a small screen and big screen project, that's a huge price driver for these books in the secondary market. And this one here, it sounds like it lends itself very well to the screen. And you know, Scout Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up in option in the past, so they do already have an inroad to Hollywood. So in our opinion, this is a great spec to pick up. We try to pick up all the Scout titles that sound like they can translate pretty well to the screen, because you never know, down the road these books might be highly sought after, and a lot of people don't buy these small press and indie publishers, so there's far fewer of them out there than the superhero comics. So in our opinion, this is a great spec bet, so grab it if you can for a spec, otherwise put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. Next up from Ablaze Comics, Almost Dead number 1. A woman awakens from an accident into a world changed by a viral pandemic that turned people into monsters, and must rely on her special survival skills to reunite her loved ones across the country. Now, once again, this sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen and big screen project, and Ablaze has been getting a lot more attention on their titles recently, so you really don't know where this one here may end up. If this gets optioned, people are going to race back to the comics and try to pick up this premiere issue. So once again, this will be speculative, but for $3 or $4, maybe worth picking up. You know, you could be sitting on a winner here for just a couple dollars. If it goes nowhere, you're out $3 or $4. You know, the risk is worth the reward on this. So grab this one here for a spec if you can. If you can't, then put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Image Comics, Blood Commandment number 1. Living an isolated life in a shadowed valley surrounded by mountains and a thick forest, a father and son are terrorized by a dangerous supernatural presence. Now once again, this sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen and big screen project, and Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up in option in the past. That's not to say this particular issue will get picked up in option in the future, but has a good chance. Like I said, Image Comics does have a road into Hollywood already, so this one here will be speculative if you choose to pick it up, but like I said, it sounds like it can translate very well to a TV show, streaming series, or feature film. So in our opinion, this is a great spec. Grab it for a spec if you can, otherwise put in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. Next up from Dark Horse Comics, Canary number 1. In a post-Gold Rush Western U.S., an evil from an old mine suspected of being haunted begins to drive citizens to murder. Once again, sounds like it lends itself very well to a TV show, streaming series, or a feature film, and Dark Horse has had a lot of their titles picked up in option in the past. You know, with these Dark Horse and Image and Boom and Scout Comics, whenever they release a comic that sounds like it can translate very well to the screen, these are typically worth picking up for specs. You know, for $3 or $4, you'd be sitting on a huge winner if these get picked up in option and actually make it to the screen. So this is a great spec in our opinion. Grab it if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from AWA Upshot, Red Light number 1. An AI sex worker befriends an orphan child who comes into her care, sending them on a mission to escape the red light district, only to find themselves steeped into the mystery behind the woman's creation. Now this one here sounds like it can lend itself very well to a small screen, big screen project. And given the fact that this is an AI sex worker, very topical, you know, AI is all the rage right now. So this one here probably will get a lot of attention from Hollywood. This has a great chance of being picked up an option for a small screen, big screen project. Now AWA Upshot has also been getting a lot more attention on their titles recently. So this one here sounds like it has great promise. This is a great spec in our opinion. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't though, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally from Vault Comics, Unnatural Order number 1. After the fall of the Britons, the release of a captive known as the Druid brought about an age of horrors that can only be rectified by a prisoner who knows his secret. And that is not how the world is supposed to be. Now once again, sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen, big screen project. And Vault Comics has had some attention on their titles in the past. They haven't really had a lot picked up in option, but that's not to say that they won't in the future. This story sounds like it lends itself very well to the screen. So once again, another great spec in our opinion. Grab it for a spec if you can. Otherwise, put it in your B-list and take a look at it later on. So there you have the 9 titles we have for you guys this week. Definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.